So it's official, as of this recording, mainstream media has declared that this is CNN, and the Sony PlayStation has sold over 100 million units, thus declaring it the official winner of this generation's console war. First off, one obviously has to congratulate Sony on their amazing job of pushing these units to homes and getting 100 million. I believe it's considered the fastest 100 million in console history. So that's a great job by Sony. But one has to wonder, although you've made it to 100 million units, what does that really do for your user base? One could argue that that leads to possibly better deals with third-party companies, that they want to get their game on your system so their game gets to more people. And I think we've seen this a little bit, but I don't really think we've really seen that much this generation. Last generation seemed to be filled with exclusive titles for both systems. This one not so much. This one was more a fight of exclusive titles from first-party developers. And we all know that Sony does a great single-player game, although I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a co-op based game from a first-party Sony developer, and that's something, maybe they're a little lacking, but whatever, that's another story. Now, this video, I was going to possibly do a very slight variation on this video, but some of the ideas from that video will go into this now that this 100 million thing has come out, and let's deep dive a little further into this. So looking at this a little deeper, okay, let's get into it. So I have a few friends that we often hang out and we talk console war, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and you know, one thing that comes up a lot is the idea of why the PlayStation is so successful. And I have a couple of friends who are just like totally blinded by PlayStation and some of the stuff they get away with compared to other consoles and companies, i.e. Microsoft. Anyways, that's another story as well. But something that this is my belief, and I deal with a lot of stuff in the video game industry. I read about it, I watch a lot of videos, and this is the thing. I do think the PlayStation 4 success rate to 100 million is partially because of a term that we've learned previously in another generation called the Wii effect. So I think the PlayStation 4 is a little bit of the Wii effect, allowing it to reach 100 million units compared to the Xbox, which is about at a generous 45 million, and the Switch is at, I think, 37 million. So let's deep dive into that and explain a bit more about that. For those who are not aware of the Wii effect, let's recap quickly. For those who don't remember, the Wii was a big hit 2 generations ago. It was a new way to play games. Everyone, including your grandma, picked up a Wii. That Christmas at launch, people were selling them for like $800 because they knew people just had to have them underneath their Christmas tree. It was a huge hit. So many people bought them, played them for a couple weeks, and then they went back to their everyday life. They weren't really gamers, they were the super casual gamers. So grandma went to the store, knew she had to have a Wii, she picked up a Wii, she counts as a sale, she played it for a handful of times, and then it went in the closet, and she never played it again. And now she had a garage sale last week, and she just sold it for $20. So this is the Wii effect. Everyone picked one up, they were casual gamers, it counts as a sale, but nobody was playing it, you know, a few months after. It was a toy. That's the Wii effect. So continuing on, if we look at history once again, PlayStation 1, great selling console. PlayStation 2, amazing selling console. I think it sold 150 million units. PlayStation 3 launches with a horrible launch. The price tag killed it, $700. It was extremely hard to program for. This showed in the games that were being released. They were often really buggy. On the flip side, 360 was a great console. It was the lead console in many games that were developed that generation. But Sony held on for 2 reasons. 1, PSN was free. You didn't need to pay for online multiplayer. This led to a lot of people and friends and family getting the PlayStation because they knew their friends were able to play without a cost for them to play. The 360 may have had better online service, but that cost money. So the free choice fit for a lot more people. 2, Blu-ray. This was an up-and-coming technology that was baked directly into the PlayStation 3 and made it a surefire hit when Blu-ray became the official format of the next generation, in quotes, sorry. We won't even talk about the $500 million payment that the Blu-ray consortium, which included Sony, paid Warner Brothers to make Blu-ray their official format, thus killing HD DVD in the process, but that's another story, and let's get back on track. PlayStation makes a comeback, PlayStation 3, and while the 360 won the generation, PlayStation was still doing very well at the end and came back to match the number of sales. But why did they do okay? Did they have great games? Possibly, they had some. Great services? Not really. I mean, PSN isn't equivalent to Xbox Live. They even managed to get hacked. Remember, the service was down for 2 months over Christmas. Nobody could do anything. But people bought the PlayStation 3 because their friend had it and had free PSN. Then the other friends bought it and it snowballed from there. All those friends playing together for a little bit, they played. Then throw in the fact that the PlayStation 3 was the only upgradable Blu-ray player when Blu-ray wasn't in its final state. People once again bought the system not as a game console, but as a trustworthy Blu-ray player to expand into next generation of these high definition movies. Take both of those things away, and what did the PS3 have? Not much. But we still continue on. So as you can see, like, there's a bit of a Wii effect starting to build here. Now, after the PlayStation 3 was done, we jumped to PlayStation 4. The Wii effect continues. The PlayStation 4 gained some early momentum, mainly because the Xbox stumbles out of the gates. They did a horrible job at E3, and this was a TV device, and PlayStation just jumped all over it. Basically, PlayStation 4 took the early lead and didn't ever look back. They do have amazing, strong, first-party, single-player games that everyone seems to love. God of War, Spider-Man, great games. To be fair, I haven't played them because I don't have a PlayStation 4. However, it's supposed to be great games, and we'll go with that. They have okay services. PSN is not the equivalent of Xbox Live. I mean, Xbox Live is a little bit more robust. It has just better quality, better networking, better download speeds. But it's still, the PSN is still there and it's doing its job. Now, this generation, it's a pay service just like Xbox Live. So, so things are a little bit more equal between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Both similar services that you pay for. So not one really has the advantage over the other, except Xbox Live is maybe a bit more better in quality. Now, so what I'm trying to get at is, so obviously, like at the time, a lot of PS3 owners upgraded to PS4. But how many people actually are using their PS4? I mean, obviously there are a lot of gamers out there that do play them every day. But I do remember there was this crazy stat, and I wish I was a little bit more organized and I had a source that I could give you, but I just remember at the time when it was published. Stat about Battlefield 4, and it was something to the fact that I believe the PlayStation 4 version had sold like 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times the amount of copies on obviously the PlayStation 4 compared to the Xbox version. However, when you looked at the number of active users at that time, even though the Xbox version had sold way less copies, I think the active number of players playing Battlefield 4 at the time was 2 or 3 times more than people on PlayStation, even though PlayStation had more users and more copies sold. And like obviously now they are going to have a bit more few copies sold because they had more systems out there, but the stats spoke for themselves. More people were playing hardcore games on Xbox at that time. What I have found in my personal experience, if you find someone, a friend, a colleague, that has both a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, the PlayStation gets used for certain things, but a lot of people tend to play a little bit more on their Xbox. That's where, while the PlayStation has those great single-player games, Xbox is where you might potentially, well, you're obviously going to play your third-party developed games that are on both systems right now on Xbox because you have the Xbox X. So that's a little late in the cycle compared to what I'm kind of comparing it against earlier on in the cycle. But like, I have friends and they have PlayStations and Xboxes, and a lot of times they are found playing more on their Xbox than their PlayStations. Obviously, people who just have the PlayStation 4 won't experience this, but I just think while it's great that PlayStation 4, Sony, has sold 100 million consoles, sometimes I just wonder how many are actively being used by real people actively playing games every day, every week? How many people just bought a PlayStation 4 because they had a PlayStation 3 and they wanted to have a new system in the house, and they just got it, and then it just sits there, or they use it as their Netflix player, or gaming is like secondary, third on the list of things that they actually use this PlayStation 4, which is funny because everyone complained that the Xbox One was this TV device and it didn't take games seriously. So it's really this really funny thing. When it comes down to it, moving to the PlayStation 5 and continuing the Wii effect, I do really think that while Xbox is going to put up a really good fight, and Xbox is in a way better situation than PlayStation right now with what they're doing, I do think the PlayStation will probably take the next generation as well. I do think Microsoft will give them a good fight. I think we'll see one of these Coke/Pepsi or McDonald's/Burger King relationships where one is primarily the leader, but both are very successful and they coexist, and this allows there to be options for everyone. I do think that's where we're going to head towards in the next generation, and I'm very curious what you guys think, and what do you think of what I've said? Do you think the PlayStation 4, they have 99 million active users and that everyone's playing it? Or do you think it's just like a box some friend told them they should pick up and it's in their living room and it never gets used? Sometimes I wonder. So what are your thoughts? Leave in the comments down below. I'd really appreciate it. And once again, thank you for dropping by. We do have some cosplay content coming up soon. We have a video from Montreal Comic Con that we're going to try to post soon. But we're enjoying doing the gaming thing. It's really fun. It keeps me active into the industry there. And hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you back soon. If you can, please think about subscribing and give this video a like. We like doing this, and we hope we can continue to do it. Thanks. Bye.